You know what hits people the hardest? It's not your anger. It's not even the words you say, it's the silence. The kind of silence that says, I'm done and I don't even need to explain. Right now, you might think you need to do something, block them, text them, prove your worth. But here's the truth. The strongest move you can ever make is no move at all. Because when you stop reacting, they lose their grip. When you stop explaining, they lose their importance. When you stop showing up, they start questioning everything. Today, I'm going to break down what really happens when you choose silence. Not to punish them, but to protect your peace. And why that choice ends up haunting them more than you'll ever need to explain. Point 1. When you pull back, their illusion breaks. They built a version of you in their mind, someone who always forgives, always replies, always sticks around. But the second you step back without warning, that image shatters. And with it, their sense of control. They weren't just attached to you, they were hooked on how predictable you were. They assumed you'd break first, check on them eventually, but this time, nothing. No texts, no reactions, no explanations. And that drives them mad, not because you left, but because they never thought you would. You didn't just cut the connection, you destroyed the illusion they could always run back to you. Point 2. They feel the shift before they admit it. You don't have to say a single word. They feel it. They notice when their phone doesn't light up. They notice when you stop viewing their posts. They notice in those quiet moments when they expect you to reach out. And you don't. Outwardly, they'll pretend nothing's changed. They'll post louder, act bolder. But inside, they feel that silence closing in. They won't admit it, but they're checking, waiting, wondering, because the shift always hits before they'll ever confess the loss. Point 3. Your stillness becomes their storm. Most people expect some kind of reaction, anger, tears, even blocking. It reassures them that they still matter. But when you give them nothing, that's when their own mind turns against them. That's when they start asking questions they don't want to ask. Did I push too far? Did I lose them for good? Why aren't they reacting? You don't have to explode. You don't have to cut them off. Sometimes the loudest statement you'll ever make is silence. Point 4. Time starts turning on them. At first, they feel free. They convince themselves they made the right call. They think you'll come back eventually. But as days turn into weeks, the silence grows heavier. Every unanswered moment becomes a message they can't unsee. That half-open door they thought they left, it starts to close. And here's the thing about time. It's relentless. Sooner or later, the silence they thought they could ignore becomes the only thing echoing in their head. Point 5. You become unreachable, not just absent. There's a difference between being gone and being unreachable. Gone means they can still text, still stalk your stories, still hope. But unreachable means your energy isn't there anymore. You've healed. You've outgrown them. You're not someone they can touch, not even emotionally. And that's when it gets real. Because even if they wanted to come back, they realize they don't even recognize who you've become. And that terrifies them. Point 6. You flipped the script without a word. They thought they were the one walking away. They thought you'd be the one hurting. But without rage, without drama, without a single explanation, you flipped the narrative. And it hits hardest in the quiet moments, when their ego fades and the truth creeps in. The person they believed they could ignore is now the only one on their mind. You didn't win by fighting. You won by walking away with dignity. Point 7. Your glow-up hits like a punch. Here's the reality. Your silence doesn't just make them wonder. It makes them watch. And one day they'll stumble across your life, glowing brighter without them. You smiling, growing, leveling up in peace. And that moment, that's when it lands like a gut punch. Because they were so sure they broke you. But you didn't just survive. You transformed. And once they see that, there's no undoing it. Point 8. You become the lesson they never wanted. Eventually, they'll have to face it. They lost something real. And that truth won't hit them through your words, but through your absence. Your silence becomes the teacher they didn't want, but desperately needed. They'll try to replace you, distract themselves, pretend you didn't matter. But it won't work. No one forgets the person who left with self-respect, without begging, without drama. You became the consequence, and they'll feel it every time they meet someone who doesn't measure up. So if you're sitting in silence right now wondering if it's working, trust me, it is. They feel it, even if they never admit it. And by the time they realize what they lost, you'll be too far gone to even look back. Drop this in the comments if it resonates. My silence speaks for me. And remember, sometimes doing nothing is the very thing that shakes them the most.